Hi everyone, quick video today, so let's get straight into the economic data. Then we'll look at the charts, as well as my results for the day and my thoughts going into tomorrow's session. If you like trading stocks and options and making money, definitely like and subscribe. I make videos like this every single day that the markets are open, as well as Sundays, so make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Welcome to the Portfolio Bulletin. Let's get started. So looking at the economic data here, you can see existing home sales came in much lower than expectations. We also had Philly Fed manufacturing coming in much lower. Jobs continuing to remain strong, better than previously expected and better than the previous read. Looking at tomorrow, we don't have a ton on the calendar, but we do have global services PMI at 945. That should be interesting, as well as global US manufacturing and global composite PMI. That pretty much wraps it up for the week. Moving over to Max Pain just for a moment, you can see we are way down here now. We did move much lower than I expected. Put wall still here at 435. We are way below that, looking super bearish on the day. We're also below all of the calls, which is interesting. Definitely a bearish close going into the end of the week, in my opinion. Max Pain is all the way up at 442, and you can see we're at 431. Moving over to the charts, looking at the S&Ps here on the hour and the daily chart. You can see this was just an absolute falling knife. We came down into those next levels after we broke through 435. We did hold this trend, which is interesting. You can see that trend line here. We talked about it yesterday. So we're at an interesting area of support. Is this going to hold? Could be interesting. Bearish momentum, bearish RSI, big volume. At this point, you would expect a test of the longer term EMAs. 144 sitting at 426.20. You got the 200 all the way down at 417.96. Obviously, that would be a pretty significant move for tomorrow. I don't think that'll happen all in one day. You also have a gap here now that's interesting. But overall, everything looks super bearish. Looking at the NASDAQ, same thesis, big sell-off, came down into an area of support, took out the trend. We're still just barely above this previous low. Bearish momentum, bearish RSI, bearish volume. Everything looks weak. Huge gap left on the NASDAQ, even bigger than the SPY. Moving over to the Russell and the Dow, absolute sell-off here on the Russell, absolute sell-off on the Dow. Everything sold off today and looks super weak going into tomorrow's session. Moving over to Apple and Tesla. Apple did sell off, did not look great. Tesla selling off even stronger, breaking my level here after hours. Bearish momentum, almost oversold, but bearish RSI. Next level I'm watching is 249.34 on Tesla. Apple, previous lows here at 172.33. Next level for me down at 170.90. Moving over to Amazon and NVDA just for a moment. Amazon, big gap down, fell right to that highly traded zone. Interesting to watch here, but it took out the 55, took out this previous low. Definitely a change of trend, bearish momentum, bearish RSI. Everything looks super weak. NVIDIA also gapping down. Didn't make it all the way to 405.30 after taking out that level, but it does look very weak. Closed right on the low. It's down a little bit after hours, and everything across the board looks super bearish. Moving over to staples and discretionary. Staples breaking down massively. Discretionary breaking down even further, right at these previous lows here now, right at that 162 area. If this breaks, got 158 at my next level. But realistically, if this previous low breaks, you would expect this to fall probably all the way down to 153.90. Critical level, looks super bearish on both charts. Moving over to breadth, obviously a massive breakdown on both charts. 200-day got below 43.55. At this point, you would have to be watching for 36.23. That would be an interesting level. We've had multiple very strong bounces off of that level. 50-day average getting into this previous low at 15.15. That would be quite interesting. Below that, we've had some lows down around 2.75. That was the low here in September of 22, leading to that October low on the markets, which led to a very strong rally. So if we get into that zone, that could be a very good indicator. And at this point, it does seem like we could get there. Moving over to yields, we've been talking about it, continuing to make new highs here. 10-year yield absolutely rocketing here, almost to 4.5 already. We talked about that being a target yesterday. I didn't think we would get there in basically one day, but what a move here. Yields going much higher. Moving over to the dollar just for a moment, you can see the dollar threw some wicks to the upside, got above my 105.50 level just for a little bit. We've been talking about getting above that level for a while, which we did do, but we couldn't hold above it, and you can see some wicks here on the 12-hour chart. Zooming out to the one-day chart on the daily, you can see this is a very important level. If it breaks out above this level, then we're going to be in the area where we saw a big push into that October low for equities, which was the October top here for the dollar. And it does seem like we're about to break out and push back into those areas. Critical level, waiting to see what happens. Moving over to bonds, as you would expect, dumpster fire, big gap, big breakdown. TLT took out this previous low, looks super bearish, massive volume on the day, huge breakdown. J&K doing similar moves. Moving over to the VIX on the daily chart, we talked about this looking pretty bullish yesterday. Sure enough, gap up, big rally, closed above the trend, closed above my 1490 level. Interestingly, we're pushing into this 19 area, as well as the 200 SMA. That'll be interesting to see if that holds tomorrow. If it does, maybe we get a slight reprieve. If this continues to rocket up into the 2250 area, you should definitely expect much lower lows. Moving over to my accounts, I was down a little bit less than 0.5%, which is not terrible. I should have been a little bit more aggressive with the call selling. You can see I'm fairly aggressive here. I do have a 358 for $1.64, as well as a 363 for Monday and a 365 for Monday. Overall, I probably should have flipped to bearish a little bit sooner on this, but it wasn't awful on the day. Obviously, my bias is to the downside. Everything looks super bearish. Let me know down in the comment section what you thought of the charts or the economic data or the results from the FOMC comments. Pretty straightforward. Everything looks terrible. But if you have anything interesting, let me know. Definitely like and subscribe if you got any value out of today. And hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.